Okay, good morning. So today we will cover chapter 3, the supply chain design, modeling, and optimization. Before we start, something I put yesterday. Didn't work. Okay, it's working now. So this is I don't know, you guys probably, I hope you guys heard about the FedEx oops, FedEx news. Have you guys heard about it? No? So last Friday, FedEx have some kind of earnings warning.
It's great to have you on the show. Let's talk about this warning from FedEx. Is this company specific? Is this a canary in the coal mine for the broader transports and global economy? How do you see it?
Well, the way we look at it is that FedEx is pretty good at picking up these types of trends early relative to some of the other names that we cover, some of the other industrials in the market. We don't.
You can see that it actually dropped 22% on Friday, more than 22%. The highest dropped in FedEx history. Okay. So, and then they are closing, I think they are closing 80 locations. So
magnitude doesn't necessarily reflect what's going on in the market. So I think the trends can be very much macro and could be read across to other companies. But I think the magnitude of the miss is probably something that's a little bit unique to FedEx.
So given the fact that we saw UPS trade lower in sympathy on Friday, and we do tend to see these two stocks move together in general whenever there's news for do you expect similar read-throughs to UPS when we do get earnings?
Well, I think UPS is actually a bit more resilient. I think they have a little bit more visibility into the network and has done a better job really sort of managing the cost side of the equation. So they've been able to manipulate the network when they've seen volume fluctuations better than what we've seen from FedEx. We actually think they're going to deliver numbers, in line with people's expectations. We did get an opportunity to talk to the company right after the FedEx pre-announcement, and they still were fairly comfortable with where
they dropped 36%.
Sell-side event the week before FedEx pre-announced and reiterated all of their back half guidance, and we're sticking with that message the other night. So our expectation is their ability to execute through these sort of more challenging periods is going to be highlighted in the next couple of quarters.
Chris, FedEx, back to that for a moment. Had an activist, there's 3 new board members, there's a new CEO. To address some of these execution issues and what many say is a bloated cost structure.
We're hopeful, but we need to see more proof that it's actually happening. Obviously, this first foray under the new CEO has been a little bit challenging in terms of the pre-announcement and the withdrawal of the guidance. We think that there is some pressure building on management to begin to execute a little bit more effectively. They did outline back in June a number of cost actions that they could take to pull forward to sort of help with that bloat in the cost structure that you referenced. But I think it's going to take a little bit of time here. I'm not sure how much time they have, but I do think it's going to take them some more time. So we would expect maybe more in the second half of their fiscal year, which is about sort of 6 to 9 months out from where we are right now, before we begin to see sort of the benefits of some of those actions that they're taking.
Okay, so that's what happened. And when we talk about supply chain, the one company that's really famous for logistic or supply chain is FedEx. So that's why I thought, we should start with the news that just happened last Friday. So the modern supply chain is very, very complex. There are so many issues that we couldn't even think about maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago, but now there are so much change. So first, we are going to kind of talk about the macro trend, okay? The macro trends are the external factors that kind of intertwine with the environment, and it actually will affect how business is run, okay? Here it says disrupt. I don't want to use the word disrupt, but it's kind of affect how business is run, and in an old-fashioned way, okay? So now there are like 4 major trends that might affect, like actually affect how we run business and also how we solve the supply chain issues. Okay, so we have global population growth and migration, global connectivity and social economics leveling, and the changing physical environment, and then the geopolitical and social system disruption. So geopolitical, if we talk about it last year, it's kind of difficult for us to imagine, but now since Ukraine was invaded by Russia, we kind of see what happened there. Okay, so let's go one by one to go into details, like what does that mean? So the global population actually grow. Now we have probably more than 7.45 billion populations. Probably, I'm guessing around 8 billion populations. And between 1950 to 2010, the life expectancy in US adult actually increased from 59.7 years old to 78.7 years old. Okay, I don't know if you guys ever talk to any insurance agent or buy life insurance. So I remember when I first graduate, when we buy life insurance, they would assume, the insurance policy assume you're going to live till 95 years old. But now, like just a few months ago, I started to look at my insurance policy again. They actually estimate, like when they calculate the insurance policy, how much you are going to pay, they calculate till 105. So they actually use that as the expectation for how long you will live. So that's the how much only in past few 10 years it already increased in insurance, but the real life expectancy also increased so much. Okay, so people live longer, and then so there will be more demand for so many different things. And I don't know if you guys ever had the idea, but I started to have ideas about the scene. Yeah.
You said you got a track record.
Oh, I need to mute. Who's talking? Let me mute these people. Oh, he muted himself. So let me see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I've actually talked to so many different people. They all have the idea about like starting a senior living business. Okay, because we have a lot of people getting old, and we keep living longer and longer, right? So we need a lot of those kind of service. And I was just talking to Stanley, the department chair of the HRTM, Hotel Recreational Tourism Management. So because they are in hotel management, and now a lot of senior livings, they want to hire people with hotel experience because they want to manage the senior living complex, or I don't know how you call it, like the community. They want to manage it like hotel, they manage hotel. So that's one thing that they will require more stuff, and then the healthcare, for the older people, and you get to see more and more people that work really long. Like I'm still thinking whether or not I want to retire. Like I told you, I was kind of look into the insurance, and I learned about Medicare, and I realized, well, Medicare is not good at all. Like it doesn't cover a lot of stuff. So the best insurance still the insurance you get through your employer. So that's why I was like, should I work till, like I'm dying, or should I retire? But I don't know. I don't know how you guys, have you guys had the professor that's really old, over 70, 80 years old? How do you guys feel? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how I would feel when I'm like, I don't know if I can still, I don't know, connect with the students. Like now, we can still talk because my daughter is younger than you guys, so I still know something that young people do. But I don't know when I'm like 70 or 80, can I still be teaching? But that's something that we all need to kind of think about. And if one day you run a business, you also need to think about there's another market there that focus on older people, and older people they are probably, I don't know, probably more financially stable if we don't mess up our retirement, right? So this is like one of the things. And then because it's now easier to move, so there are a lot of migration. Like I know a friend, she is 63. Okay, I met this friend from the dog park. So she doesn't like the heat. So she actually just a few months ago, she bought a huge land in Maine. And then she just, she would go to Maine during the summertime. And then she planned to come back like when it's really, really cold. And then she'll come back here, She doesn't mind the winter here. It's pleasant for her. So and then they just, she bought a, what is it, RV. She bought an RV. So she would just drive her RV with her dog. And then she's leaving next week. She's taking my dog. Yeah, I have a few weeks break from my dog. So she's taking my dog and her dog to Maine in her RV. And they are going to run in the woods. So that's, what people do. And several friends I met at the dog park, they all do that. Like one lady, she would go to Arizona in wintertime. Okay, so the lady, she doesn't like the cold. So she will go to Arizona for winter. And some a lot of people, they will go to Florida for winter, right? So it's getting more and more common for people, And then we heard from the news, like what is it? How do you call that? Is it called refugee from Ukraine? They were sent to Martha's Vineyard. Okay, so this happens a lot. And I have a lot of friends like my age, they will retire maybe in 10, 20 years. And they were thinking, like a lot of people were thinking, maybe, when we retire, we want to move to, I heard several options. Like some people say Florida, but some other people say Florida has too many hurricanes. So other people say, oh, we should move to Texas. Texas, it's cheaper now. I mean, not cheaper compared to before, but cheaper compared to other places. And some people were talking about moving to Vegas. And then I was like, I never thought about that. Vegas would be nice, right? You always have entertainment. And Vegas is very, actually very convenient. They have a lot of shops. And then the hospitals are like very modern, it's not like North Dakota. So people were talking about it. And then, so the migration actually happens a lot, okay? And I don't know about you guys, but I think compared to maybe 20 years ago, I know friends that in Pennsylvania, they don't go out of Pennsylvania. They always stay in Pennsylvania. They rarely travel, to other places. But now I think it's getting more and more popular that people want to see different part of the world, or even different state in US. So that's one of the trend. And then the global connectivity, social economic leveling. It's not just the technology that give us the connection with the global, event or, whatever. Now, even with the, how do you call that? Virtual reality. Okay, with the virtual reality, once you put down the goggle, you get to see or feel, different sceneries, different stuff all over the world. I don't know if you guys went to Disney. A few years ago, they started to have this, I forgot what's the name. But it's like you are on a hot air balloon and then you travel throughout the world. You get to see different stuff. I forgot the name of the stuff, and then they will fly you over the pyramid, and they will fly you over the Great Wall and stuff. So this technology actually changed our world, and the internet especially. I don't even remember if 10 years ago was internet this popular. 10 years ago, yeah, 10 years ago it's already good. So about 20 years ago, I remember when I was in the exchange program, so I went to Switzerland to study abroad for a semester. And you would think Switzerland is one of the richest countries, but the internet wasn't as convenient as here in US. And I remember that year, you know, at that time I was in Ohio State, so I want to follow the football game, but the internet was so bad in Switzerland. It keep giving me lag, and then I couldn't catch up with the game, and usually my friend would text me saying, yeah, you know, and then I was like, I missed it, you know, I couldn't, like, it just didn't work that well. But now, you know, with our phone, we have internet wherever you go. Like even when you travel overseas, usually we have internet. So this is also something that would change how we live. And how many of you still shop online? Like you purchase stuff online really quick, right? Yeah. So like the pandemic also changed how I shop, especially like the grocery shopping. Once a while, I still shop online. Sometimes I like to go to the store to, you know, look, just go walk around. But if I don't have time, I would just do pick up, you know, the, how do you call that? The curbside pickup, you know, so that actually changed how I work. And also, did you guys know if you download McDonald's app, if Philly won, you got a free sandwich, and what is the other one? Eagles. When Eagles win, you get a Big Mac. So Eagles won last night, right? I just got a text saying that, oh, free Big Mac with $1 purchase. So usually I get a drink and then Big Mac, or I get some like cheeseburger and then a Big Mac. So so it changed how we consume any product, okay? And a lot of times you get emails about a certain deal and you just take a look and then you will buy it. So we would find a way to consume stuff more efficiently. And then the companies, the business like McDonald's, they also need to find a way to make people use their app, and then the curbside, you know, how they utilize that, you know, how they arrange the orders. Okay, so what I like about McDonald's app is they don't charge you until you actually arrive the store. So several times when I try to place order and I pick the wrong store location, and then I could just cancel the order, and then, you know, just when I get there, I can just replace another order. But Chick-fil-A or Starbucks, so Starbucks, I placed so many orders at Starbucks and I just forgot to pick up, but they charge you, so they would put it there, and then you sometimes after the next day, I was like, oh, I forgot to pick up my pink drink. You know, sometimes they have buy one get one free. So I ordered one. I was like, oh, I'll just pick it up on the way home. But you know, when you are used to drive home directly, you just forget to stop by the Starbucks, and then, you know, so several times I forgot. So so the social economic leveling, the global connection, it actually changed how we consume. Okay, and I still see a lot of boxes in front of my neighbor's door from Amazon. So people still shop a lot from Amazon. Okay, I try to kind of quit that because one year I was actually shocked. Like 1 year, I keep seeing like a lot of deals people post on Facebook. So I keep buying stuff from Amazon. And then it's like between Black Friday till Christmas. So that month, when I see my credit card bill, I was like, I spent over $1,000 on Amazon just for tiny gifts, like small stuff for my daughter, for Christmas. I can't believe I spent over like maybe $1,500. So I try to cut it. So, cut the spending. So now whenever I buy something, I just put it in the cart, wait for a few days, and then see if I still want it. Yeah. So the next change, the next macro trend is changing physical environment. So like we see, have you guys seen the news just happened yesterday? Puerto Rico have a hurricane. It was originally, how do you call it, level 1? Or is it called level 1? Or how do you call the level 1? Yeah, they thought it's level 1, but when it hit Puerto Rico, it become level 3. And it create a lot of flooding and stuff. So that's some of the, the things that we feel it's changing. I'm not 100% sure if it's global warming, because I actually went to what's that place? Franklin Institute. So Franklin Institute has this exhibit. They actually tell you, like they say the Earth, they tell you the Earth temperature. So for the past thousands years, actually our temperature, even now we feel it's warmer, but still it's in a reasonable range now. So I'm not sure if it's really global warming or it's just something, it just happened, but we don't have enough history to show that. But let's say there is global warming. So, we have to deal with this kind of extreme weather. And a few days ago, Taiwan had like really big earthquake. I don't know if you guys saw that. Some bridge collapsed and then some house collapsed. And I think so far only one person died because he works in a factory and the factory also collapsed. So he wasn't able to make, to run out. So he got buried in the concrete. So there's only one death at there. And then what is the other place? Pakistan also had very bad flood issue. So these are the things that we have to deal with, and it actually affect the supply chain, right? So I'm not sure if you guys remember, but maybe is it 2000? I think 2010 or 11. There's a huge earthquake in Japan, and the tsunami hit Japan and then kind of destroyed the nuclear power plant. Do you guys remember the news? You guys probably very, very young, probably in elementary school or something. But during that time, there are a very bad shortage in car manufacturing because Japan is famous for building cars, and some like they don't like, they have factories in US, but Japanese are very smart. They keep the very essential stuff in Japan. So some of the materials they still need to ship from Japan, and it got interrupted. So there's a very bad shortage of cars during that time. And during pandemic, you guys see the boat got stuck in the port. I think I told you guys about my stories about, I wanted to buy a Mercedes-Benz last year. Thank goodness there is traffic in the port. So I waited for a month, and then my brother talked me into better financial senses, like don't waste your money now. You want to wait, and your car still in good condition, even though it's old. So it's not that old, it's 2014. But I never drive a car that without car loan. Like I always have to pay car payment. So whenever I pay off, I usually trade it in and then get another new car. So I never like drive a car that I actually pay off. So I feel like, oh, I need to buy something, but it's also good not to have any debt, you know, no car loans that I have to pay. So, so it actually, the supply chain actually kind of change how we shop, and it creates some kind of like, it actually in our case, like the past few months, few years, it actually kind of stimulated demand because the car price went up so much. You know, did I tell you my brother, he bought a new car in I think 2020 or 2021. I forgot. It's either 2020 or 2021. And then he sold it 1 year later after he drove, I don't know how many miles, not a lot, but you know, definitely like something like 30,000 miles. He was able to sell the car $5,000 higher than the price he paid. Yeah. So that's how crazy the thing was, and people are willing to pay premium to get a car. And one of the reasons I wanted to trade in the car last year to get a new one is I thought, you know, my car would get good trading value because, you know, the used car price is high, but it didn't. So I got really angry and I was like, let me keep the car. I'm not going to get a new one. So so that's one of the things. And then another thing that we have to keep in mind today, Ford, the car company, their stock price dropped because they also announced some kind of earning warning, like they expect to see their earnings dropped. So people were talking about, you know, because in Europe, they already, the European countries, their governments already kind of say that they want to encourage the electric vehicle, okay? And in US, we didn't really say that, but I know in California, they already say that I think their goal is like maybe 2026. By 2026, they want to see only the electric vehicle in California, okay? So that's also another thing that changed the environment because they want to, you know, the government want to decrease the pollution, and it will affect it. Imagine how it will affect how we ship stuff. I don't know. We rely so much in the domestic transportation. We rely a lot on the railroad, but did anybody? Well, we have the electric train, but I don't know if it's feasible for the shipping train because, you know, our train has it's so long, so they need a very powerful how do you call that, engine? Yeah. So if it's electric, how does that work? Would it be powerful enough, or, you know? So it's I'm not sure. Yeah. So but those are some of the changes that we might see in the future. And if we are doing some business, it might affect us, okay, affect how we do business. So so that's also one macro trend. Oh, what did I do? Okay, so one thing I want you guys to kind of think about is think about the recent major weather event. You know, yesterday, what they say? Hurricane Fiona hit Puerto Rico. So if we only have 1 week warning, what actions do you think companies supplying the region store had to take? Like, we know, let's say the hurricane is going to hit Florida and you only have 1 week warning. What do you think you should do? Do you think you have enough time to, let's say, get enough inventories or get ready? Because usually it happens 3 to 5 days, right? We won't be able to forecast the weather 10 days, like 10 days ago, we would say, oh, there's a tropical, how do you call that? Tropical pressure, whatever, there forming, and it might become hurricane. We won't be able to tell unless it's already forming, and usually it will happen in maybe a week, right? So what should we do? Do we have enough technology to help us? What else we can think of?
Is this like for a warehouse or is this for like a store?
Either way,
Yeah, I think I'll try, like, if I can't move all the product to like another location, I would try to sell it for like cheap or for like bundles.
okay, before the hurricane.
Yeah,
Okay.
so at least like I get some money out of it.
Mhm. Okay, okay, that's actually a good answer. It's very outside the box, like we try to, yeah. So that's actually good. Yeah, so so companies say they need to figure out a way to do things, right? And like if we run a grocery store, we need to make sure we have enough water, because it's something that people might need after the, after the hurricane. But how do we protect ourselves from, being damaged by the extreme weather or even earthquake? Okay, so that's something that's, we have to kind of think about. Okay, and then the last one is geopolitical social system disruption. So we kind of talk about it. So the we have the now Russia and Ukraine, affecting the Europe. The European, I think Germany just announced their CPI. It was really, really bad last night. I didn't catch how much was it, but they say the Germans are also nervous about their economies. So and then some of the political decision might affect the country's populace, like UK exit the EU, okay, the Brexit is famous in 2016. So the British pound actually depreciate a lot after they exit EU. And now it's because the US dollar just increased a lot. So it used to be $1, one British pound, we can get 1.5 US dollars. Now one British pound only get 1.12 US dollars. So it's really a good time to go to UK or go to Europe. Yeah, it's relatively cheap. A friend of mine, he's thinking of buying the telescope, the very advanced telescope from Italy. He say it used to be like 10,000 US dollars because it's about 6,000 euro. And now it's only 6,000 US dollars. He said $4,000, and he's kind of frugal, but he's willing to pay $400 shipping because he saved like 4,000, so he doesn't mind paying $400 for shipping. Yeah, so this actually changed the way we live, or the way we consume. So so this is the general macro what is it, trend for the environment. Let me see if I can show you this. I kind of forgot. Okay. So this is the systematic leadership website. So I think I already posted this on the D2L. So you should be able to, if you are interested, you can go in there and then, So the supply chain network design. So when we think about supply chain network design, we try to figure out where is the best location and how big is the facilities we want. So it comes with a lot of different considerations, okay? And even now it become even more complicated, like the macro trend we were talking about. We want to make sure if we have a factory in Japan and something happened there, it won't disrupt our whole supply chain. We want to make sure we have some backup in other different locations, okay? Or in Ukraine, we have some facility and then we want to make sure, even though that facility might not be able to work, it won't affect our global production. So it's becoming more, it's not just before for us, it's just like how much it will cost us, the labor costs, the energy costs, the land, how much it costs us to build factories, and then the shipping costs from that factory to different places. But now it's not just that. We also need to worry about the natural disasters, the possible wars, or sometimes even piracy. So we ask questions like how many warehouses do we need, and where should they be? How big should they be? Okay, so that was the traditional question. And how many plants, factories should we have? And where should they be? And then what should they make? And how many quantity they need to make from different factories? Okay, in the inventory, how much should we have the inventory, in what quantities, and which inventory should be stored where? Okay, do we want to change that throughout the year, or we want to keep it stable? So there are different ways to determine this. And how many suppliers should we have? Okay, so if we have few suppliers, we'll purchase bigger quantity from each supplier. But then that means we rely on each suppliers more because we rely bigger order from each supplier. Okay, but at the same time, we can maybe get a better deal. But if we have more suppliers, we kind of disperse our suppliers, so we don't rely on them that much. But on the other hand, we won't be able to get the big discount because each of the supplier have smaller orders. Okay, so those are the decisions that we have to consider, and we have to find the trade-offs. We have to find a balance where we think it's best for the company. Okay, so how we change is to the existing supply chain impact service level and total logistic cost. So when we talk about service level, that means that, remember I said, like, if we have, let me just make up some numbers. If we only have 5 major suppliers, okay, each supplier we place 1 million order, 1 million units of product. So we get good discount. But if something happened to one supplier, then we are 1 million units short, okay? So that will affect, that means we will have probably some stock out, or we won't be able to, if our customer want to buy from us, there might be some customer won't get the product they want. They might need to wait. So that will affect the service level, okay? Because people don't like to wait, right? Even me, I don't like to wait. I'm like kind of impatient. So if we need to wait, we probably will say, oh, let me go to some other places to buy, right? So that's the service level. But if we want to have good service level, let's say we have, instead of 5 major suppliers, we have 100 suppliers, and each of them get about 10,000 units of order. So if something happened to one, it's only 10,000, it doesn't affect us much. But imagine if we buy 10,000 versus 1 million with the supplier, the price we are going to pay probably will have big difference. If we buy 1 million, we'll probably get bigger discount, and we pay 10,000, we buy 10,000, the price will probably be higher, right? So that's the price we have to pay if we want to keep the customer service level high. Okay, so that's like I said, trade-offs. Do we want to take the chance or not? But you never know what will happen. Like, Taiwan always has earthquake. Like we experience the past few days, they have hundreds of earthquakes, but only one major one will make, things really bad. So do you want to take the chance or not? So that's the questions once you run your own business or you become the manager. Okay. So we have, we try to decide the modeling. We need to figure out our objectives, whether or not we want to keep our service level high, and then at the same time, maybe try to minimize the cost, but not putting minimize cost as our top priority. So it depends on how we set the objectives. And then our constraints, okay, we can only afford, we want good service level, but we can only afford certain amount of budget for certain service. So, this is the most we can pay for certain levels of service. And then data, what do we like, what's happening before, and then the variables, what could be different. Like I say, the natural disasters, maybe possible the political instabilities, those kind of stuff we might need to take into consideration. And of course, the shipping costs, the production costs, all the costs that we want to consider. So this is the what we have for the supply chain optimization model. And we are going to, like, on Thursdays, you guys know on Thursdays we have Excel. So we are going to use some simplified example to show you how we use Excel to run this model and then to make the decision, okay, to figure out the best solution or acceptable best solution, okay? So what kind of decision can a model make? Okay, the model might be able to pick such as specific locations for us, or decide how many quantities, So it depends on how we want to run the model. So, but no model will generate meaningful recommendations if we don't have enough data. So the data with good quality is also important. So that's why we want to also always keep track of the data, and we want to have everything that's measurable, okay? So the key challenges in the supply chain networking model is sometimes because we have too much information, sometimes we don't know how to start, okay? Sometimes we don't know how to start. And sometimes maybe we don't have the data, or somebody else has the data, but we don't know where to get it, okay? Or it's something new. We are not sure where, like, how can we find the equivalent data to use to help us to make decision? So, and then sometimes it's too much data we need, and then it's difficult to collect the data. So those are some of the challenges when we try to figure out the optimizing model, okay? Oops. Is this, okay. And then sometimes we rely too much on the quantitative analysis. So we rely too much on the numbers, but we fail to see the quality stuff, the other side of the stuff, okay? So it's really difficult, but we have to get the right answer from whoever is involved, and then make sure we understand what's going on, okay? So for example, when I say quantitative or qualitative, so like if we only look at the past few months of, let me see, the wheat shipping from Ukraine, and didn't know what's going on there, just look at the data, be like, there are not many, wheat shipping out of Ukraine. So maybe the demand is decreasing. If we look at that, okay, just look at the numbers. But if we didn't know the fact that actually, in 2022, Ukraine was invaded by Russia, and it kind of disrupt the whole supply chain activities there. So we need to also understand the qualitative side of the story. Okay. So it's just so we also need to keep that in mind when we are running the model. The modeling is very fascinating because when we were able to run the complex model, it's so fun if you are able to get the model running. Okay. But sometimes in addition to look at the answer, we also need to figure out what is the story behind it. Okay. So the goals for supply chain optimization, resilient. So we want to make sure we always can return to the known state as quickly as possible. And then cost trade-off, like we mentioned, we want to increase the service, but service comes with the cost. So it's like a trade-off. How much cost are we going to accept? And how bad the quality we are going to accept. So that's something we have to find the balance. And then we have triple constraint. They have limited resources. They have limited, money, limited people, and also limited time to do all the changes. So those are the constraints we have. Nobody has like unlimited resource. Like even what is his name? What is Tesla's? Yeah, so even Elon, the richest guy in the world, he buying Twitter is not that expensive, but then he's still like, I think I paid too much. That's why he tried to get out, right? So nobody, even the richest guy, he still try to utilize his resources, his money as much as possible, right? So that's the thing. No companies, even Elon Musk, Twitter is like such a small company compared to whatever he owns. He still try to get out of it. Yeah. So that's that. And then we have several network design software. I'm just going to talk about it really quick. Trend Service, Profit Points, Opta Planner, Lindo, all this we have in the market. So any questions? So that's the supply chain network market, network modeling. So if no questions, I think that's it. I'll see you guys on Thursday. No more questions? So Thursday is, we are going to, it's our first time. We are going to use Solver. Let me check. Let me see if we are using Solver or I forgot what I did. So let me see what I put in 22nd. Oh yeah, this is the very first Solver. So make sure you have Excel, okay? And if you are using this computer, that's good. But for those who is in Zoom, make sure your computer has Excel, and better not to be the Mac version of Excel, because sometimes it worked, but sometimes it would have weird answers, and I don't know why. Yeah. So so try to see, if you have a MacBook, try to come here to use the school computer. So we are going to talk about the very basic two variables linear programming. So for the two variables, we will be able to solve by our hand. So we are going to demonstrate that by hand, by chart, and also by computer, okay? And then from there, we are going to have more variables in the future. So next Thursday is very important because it's like the foundation. If you miss it, it becomes too much. When we have 10 variables, okay? So any other questions? If not, then that's it for today. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let me close this.